Hello, and welcome to DataSunrise's functionality demonstration. This demo will show how to install DataSunrise Database Security Suite on Windows. We have downloaded the installation package and will show now how to install DataSunrise. The setup wizard will help us. Click Next. Now choose the destination folder by clicking Change or use the default destination folder. Then click Next. Now, click Install. The installation progress will be displayed on the screen. Now select the location of the DataSunrise configuration. You can choose either a local server or a remote server. Use the local server option when you need to deploy one instance of DataSunrise. In this case, DataSunrise will be using an integrated SQLite database to store the dictionary.db file. The dictionary.db file contains all the DataSunrise settings or security configuration governing the protection of your databases. Also, with DataSunrise, your databases can be continuously monitored or audited, and the resulting auditing logs can be stored locally. Also, for your convenience, database auditing results can be stored in several types of external databases. The remote server option is used when you need multiple instances sharing one common configuration for high availability. If you choose the remote server option, you need to specify a name, which could be anything. This will be the DataSunrise's instance name. So I'm putting here the name of the DataSunrise instance. A host name. I'm putting here my computer's IP. And port information, which will be used for accessing the graphical user interface and for connection between the DataSunrise's instances. I'm putting here port 11000. If you click Next, you can choose between two types of databases: PostgreSQL or MySQL to store the information about settings or configuration governing the protection of your databases. This information is shared by several DataSunrise instances, as we're speaking about high availability here. This is the configuration information, which is stored in the dictionary.db file in the local server mode mentioned earlier. Here you need to specify a host name, port, database name, database schema to store the dictionary, database login, and database password information so that the dictionary file could be used by the other DataSunrise instances. Also, protected databases can be continuously monitored and audited, and the results of this can be stored in several types of external databases for further analysis. In order to create this audit storage, you need to click Next and enter the required information. The general remote server configuration looks like this. With DataSunrise, you can use any load balancer you like. When a load balancer is used, it makes sure that queries coming from client applications are distributed between DataSunrise instances so there is no downtime for clients and for protection of your databases. In this tutorial, we'll be using the local server option, so we need to go back and click Next after our selection. Now, you have to create a password to access the DataSunrise GUI. This password will be used together with the default admin login. Then confirm the password and click Next. Then click Finish. But before you do that, please be informed that in order to access the GUI, you need to open the following address in your web browser. Click Finish to finish the installation. To have access to settings and create the security policies for your databases after installation of DataSunrise Database Security Suite, we need to open the following address on a web browser. The HTTPS protocol is used and port 11000. DataSunrise has a self-signed SSL certificate by default, so you should accept it if requested. Now enter the password you set earlier. The login is admin by default. After that, click the Login button. Now enter the license key and click Activate. If you downloaded DataSunrise from our official website, the trial key was sent to your inbox. and if you bought the DataSunrise license, you were able to get the license key after that. The DataSunrise dashboard is displayed now. This dashboard is the place where you can get all the information about the performance of your protected database. But before your database becomes protected, we need to specify which of your database or databases you want protection for. To do that, let's go to the Configuration section in the left pane. After that, choose the Databases option. Here, click Add Database. Now we need to create a target database profile, that is to specify parameters of the database you want protected. We've created a PostgreSQL database earlier, which we're going to protect now. You can see a few fields which are needed to set the protection parameters for the database. In the Logical Name text field, you can give any name to your database, which will be used as a reference to the database. Let the logical name for our sample database be Postgres_77. Then select the database type from the drop-down list. For this video, we'll be using the PostgreSQL sample database mentioned earlier. Please note that the port text field is auto-completed. The database text field is auto-completed too. This field contains the name of the target database. It is required for connection testing in case access to the master database is restricted for the user credentials. The next field is hostname/IP that contains the hostname or the IP address of the server the database is installed on. I'm putting here the IP of my PostgreSQL database. The default login text field specifies the database username which DataSunrise should use to connect to the database. The password text field sets the database user password which DataSunrise should use to connect to the database. Connection with the database is needed to get metadata from the target database. Depending on the target database type you select, there could be more fields showing up. To get more information on these new fields not covered in this video, please refer to the DataSunrise User Guide. Click the Test button to check the connection between your database and DataSunrise. As you can see, the test is successful. So let's move on. The server drop-down list selects a DataSunrise server, DataSunrise instance, to open a proxy or a sniffer for. Previously, during the installation, our selection was local, and that is why only this option is available here. The Action drop-down list selects an operating mode DataSunrise should employ to process requests to a target database. Two options are available: Proxy, Sniffer. When deployed in the sniffer mode, DataSunrise is connected to a span port of a network switch. Thus, it acts as a traffic analyzer capable of capturing a copy of the database traffic from a mirrored port of the network switch. When deployed in the proxy configuration, DataSunrise works as an intermediary between a database server and its client applications. Thus, it is able to process all incoming queries before redirecting them to a database server. We'll go for proxy. The port text field, for the proxy mode only, the number of a network port DataSunrise should be listening to. By default, it's auto-completed. You can leave the port number here as it is, or pick another port number. Client applications will be connecting to the DataSunrise's proxy instead of connecting to the database directly. Now, click Save to save the changes. The newly added database is displayed on the list of database profiles on the DataSunrise dashboard. Let's take a look at one of the ways DataSunrise can protect your database. Let's create an audit rule. Later, we will make a query to our database and see how DataSunrise works. Audit rules on DataSunrise make sure that your databases are constantly monitored. So, let's create one. To create an audit rule, we need to go to the Audit section in the left pane. Then choose the Rules option. All the existing audit rules are listed here. At the moment, we have none. So let's create one. Click Add Rule. Here we have some fields to be filled. In the Name field, you should give a name to your audit rule. This name can be anything. For this video, let's use the name, say, Audit_all, as the rule I'm creating here will be auditing all the events in my database. After that, you need to specify the database type and the instance you want audited. We have other fields here, each serving to fine-tune your database's auditing. But even the basic auditing settings shall provide reliable auditing possibilities for you. Don't forget to save the rule to apply it. Let's go to the Events subsection of the Audit section and click it. The Events subsection displays every single event across your databases you want protected. Obviously, this section contains no entries, as we've just created our database profile and an audit rule, and no events have been registered so far. Let's create a sample event for our now existing audit rule. To do that, we'll be using the Windows command prompt and PSQL. Here, we need to specify the proxy we're using for our PostgreSQL database. Now let's make a sample SQL query to select all from Schema Public, Table Customers in our sample database. And let's see what's changed in the DataSunrise. Here you can see our sample query registered. If you click the event ID, you can get the most complete information possible about all queries made to your database, including the application the query has been made from. As you can see right in front of your eyes, I've just set up continuous monitoring for my database, so that not a single action of a database user goes unnoticed. Depending on your choice, auditing results can be stored locally or externally for further analysis. And it took me just a few minutes and several clicks to do that. Even the basic security settings shall provide reliable protection for your databases. You can always fine-tune the protection so that your databases and your business can enjoy full security. DataSunrise makes protection of your databases easy, user-friendly, and efficient. Thank you for your time. We've come to the end of this part of the tutorial.